All right, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're listening to this or you're watching this from whatever time zone you're in, hello, good to have you tonight on the mental application study. Welcome on board. I trust everyone is doing well and we had a beautiful day, right? Okay, so welcome once again to the mental application study. If you're just joining our platforms for the first time or you're just coming across this stream or this classes and study for the first time, the mental application is a platform to raise and train a generation of sentient beings and foreign future and forward thinkers. Yes, we use their mind to think answers to global challenges. So that is what this platform is all about. This is a platform to raise and train a generation of forward thinkers, basically, without all the grammars, forward thinkers, individuals that use their minds to think answers to global challenges. And this is the reason why we're having these classes. Number one, these classes are an attempt to solve a futuristic kind of problems. We believe that one day the world is going to need unique minds, individuals with prepared minds to offer answers, because there's going to come a point where there will be too much questions than answers. What does that mean? There will be too much challenges and problems than solutions, and we're coming into a point in time where the world we're living in right now is already giving young individuals, should we call it mental drain right now, or mental lapses, where people cannot think properly. People don't believe so much in long-term mental contribution, and we have so little mental strength in the lives of young people right now, owing to digital media, entertainment, and everything is so short span that is now beginning to affect the mental cognition, the mental strength, mental contribution of young individuals. So this class and this study, this platform basically is a solution to that, to the mounting futuristic problem we're going to encounter. We're going to come to a day where there will be questions and nobody has an answer anymore, and then we now get into a whole lot of challenges. So before that day come, we are using this platform to raise a generation of young individuals that are forward thinkers who use their mind to think answers to global challenges. Are we still together? So this is what this platform is all about. The mental application study, of course, is an extension of Beyond the School. Beyond the School is an institution that's with the aim to raise a creative, innovative, and highly intelligent individual. You can check up our platforms with all of the links that are going to be broadcast in your screen right now. Are we still together? So without wasting so much of our time, of course, you can check up our library. We have tons of works done on our library, podcast and sessions you can listen to that helps you develop a heightened mental strength for your individual lives, helping you of developing that individual that has answers, because the world we live in is a world of questions. Are we still together? People ask questions, and I don't mean questions like question. No, every challenge is a question that begs for an answer. Every challenge is a question that begs for an answer. Every problem is a question that begs for an answer. Every time there is going to be an innovative stretch, it always starts with a question. Are we still together? Every time there's going to be an advancement in technology, an advancement in industry flow, it always starts with a question. Are we still together? And that means that whoever answers the questions becomes the one who offers the innovation. Whoever answers the question becomes, of course, the one who sets the boundaries, sets the marks, and then becomes that individual that the honor goes to. Are we still together? So life is literally question bound. You want to prepare your mind to be able to answer those questions. Everything is question bound. If a man is financially limited, it's a question he has to answer. The question he has to answer around financial freedom. The moment he can answer that question, of course, with a product, with a service, with a platform, he becomes financially independent or financially stable, like the word says. Are we still together? So everything is asking you a question. Your answer now either becomes, your answer is not word of mouth. It's not okay, number one. No, your answers now become either a product, a service, a platform, an idea. Something has to answer that question. The answer to that question is not verbal. The answer to that question is tangible. Are we still together? Okay. With that being said, I believe an average person understands what the mental application study is all about. So this platform is going to stretch your mind, of course, stretch your mind in ways and manners that, just to bring you to a point of productivity. Are we still together? All right. So tonight, or whenever you're listening to this from, we're going to be talking to the topic birthing innovation. And this topic is going to be a series. We're having the first part. So we're going to be having the next part next week, Wednesday. And as we keep going, birthing innovations and all of that. Now, the subtopic under, or the first part of this series, we're going to be talking about the infinite possibilities of the human consciousness. The infinite possibilities of the human consciousness. The infinite possibilities of the human consciousness. And one of the things people don't get to understand properly is the fact that innovations does not in quotes drop on anybody's laps. The people make it look as if you can be innovative, you can be highly innovative, and nobody taught us or teaches us or tells us how to birth innovation. I've attended conferences, I've been to teachings, I've listened to virtual trainings, and everybody keeps psyching you up and pushing, and I'm not, very beautiful stuff, everybody does their best and offer their contribution, but everybody tells you be highly innovative, be an innovative contributor, be an innovative this, be an innovative educator. For instance, I am an educator, I teach. Now be an innovative educator, be an innovative creative person. And now the question is, how do I become innovative? Like, what are the factors I need to put in place to become an innovative person, or to even birth innovation in industries and all of that? Now nobody has an answer, because nobody has an answer. There are certain words that are very vague and ambiguous that people literally don't have an explanation for, but everybody use, like words like innovation. Ask an average person, what is an innovation? And people will tell you your innovation is an advancement. What is an advancement? And you see people shocked to the point where they find out that really I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying all of this because everyone says these things. The same with creativity. Ask an average person, what is creativity? And say, creativity is your ability to create. What does it mean to create? And to create now. Those are words that are very vague, and people don't have they don't have an in-depth understanding of what they're saying, and which is causing more harm than good. Are we still together? Okay, so tonight we just want to give an attempt again to help you understand what drives innovation, basically. Beyond just saying I'm an innovative educator, I'm an innovative, whatever, I'm an innovative financial person. What drives innovation? Next week we're going to begin to talk about when to innovate. Because you don't innovate anyhow. You don't just innovate anywhere and then you just say, okay, today I want to bring innovation. Does it make any sense? There is an innovation cycle, basically, that people have to be conscious of, especially when you begin to deal with innovation in industries. Now, so that's what we're going to be discussing next week. You really do not want to miss out next week. We're not even started with today. We're already talking about this, but you really do not want to miss out on this series. It's going to be very interesting and very, very mind-changing. Are we still together? Okay. So, innovation, like I was saying earlier, doesn't drop on anybody's lap. There are things you need to do to, come into that, innovative enclave, as it were. And before we even begin to talk about that so much, there is something about the human consciousness that births innovation. Are we still together? There is something about the human consciousness that does what? Births innovation. And It's funny how people are not so conscious of their human consciousness. When I talk about consciousness, basically I'm talking about the mind in quotes. There is something about the human mind that is still till date not so understandable. I'm not trying to make this a religious platform, but I love the scriptures so much because it's a very intellectual book. Basically, if you want to develop, one of my mental regimen for mental, development is reading the scriptures, not as a preacher, but as mental, contribution and all of those things. The Bible, speaking, I think it was the patriarch David said a statement, and he said, "What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him?" Now there's something about that scripture, and it's not first anything in quotes other than the mental capacity of man, because in the mental capacity of man is the ability to create literally and to destroy. Are we still together? And both that ability is given to man, especially in this realm. And then that is the reason why both God and every other devils, all of they are so interested in man, because of the fact that only that entity can do that creation capacity. It doesn't make it, especially in this realm. Are we still together? So there is something about the human consciousness that even humans are not aware of. And that's one of the things we want. We can't, if we really want to talk about the human consciousness and talk about the human mind, we will spend the next 3 hours here teaching these things, and it's not still going to be enough. We literally can spend all of this series talking about the human consciousness, because not even the human consciousness in quotes, the human mind. The human mind is divided into 3 levels. There is literally the conscious mind, there is the subconscious mind, there is the unconscious mind. And I've always explained this reality to my students, and I've told them that, see, innovation and being creative is not first something you read in a book. It's something you what is it called? You is, I don't want to say bring out of you, but it's something you become synchronized with. Are we still together? It's something you get synchronized with, because your conscious mind is there, filled with, of course, limited possibilities in quotes. Your subconscious mind is there, your unconscious mind is there, and then all of these 3 reality play a huge role in what and who you become on the long run. I'm not trying to talk about these individual levels. I wish I could. If we double into it, we'll spend another 30 minutes to 1 hour. And this class is strictly supposed to be 45 minutes every of our explanation. So I don't want to waste. Maybe we're going to have a special class for this, where we'll talk about the levels of the human mind, because you need to understand these things and how they play a role in your mental. You're not a, forgive me to use this word, you're not a dumb goat, and then you just come up and say, I don't need to train my mind, I don't need to develop my mind, but I'll be successful. Greatness is planned. In the words of my my mentor and my model, he would always say greatness is planned. You plan for your greatness, and one of the ways you plan for greatness is in your mental development. Are we still together? Okay, if that is understood, then let's attempt to learn something practical. Are we still together? All right, let's okay, this is me trying to push through my digital notes. All right, so I have right here, and it says understanding the human consciousness. Understanding the human consciousness. Now, understanding the human consciousness, I wrote here and I said, innovation is the engine that drives progress in every field. Correct. From technology and science to art and culture. But the human mind, with its vast potential, is the birthplace of this innovation. Understanding and harnessing the possibilities of the human consciousness can lead to groundbreaking advancement. And the second line I wrote, man by default is an innovative being. And this is one thing you want to believe, without doubt in your heart. There is something we have at Beyond the School. We have an institution, or we have a platform. We call it a school, and that's the Magnet School. And on the Magnet School, one of the things the Magnet School is an industry and industry intelligence preparatory school that prepares individuals for as creative and innovative beings in industries. Are we still together? The industries, all of the industries across the world right now, the spheres of influences require highly innovative and creative individuals, and that school prepares individuals in that regards to offer creative solution and innovative solutions to industries. Are we still together? Okay. Now, one of the things we teach on that platform is the personalities of every man personality. Now, in my research and study and all of that, I found out that every man has 5 personalities basically, and I tried as much as possible integrating these things. I try as much as possible to study far and wide, and then in the Bible, there is something very beautiful that the Bible spoke about, and that was when Jesus Christ, arose from the dead, and then the Bible says he gave gift unto men. To some he gave apostles, prophet, pastors, teachers, and evangelists, and all of that. Now, very great stuff. Now, I found out that there are 5 personalities, and I'm not talking about sanguine or melancholy or all of those things. Very great stuff, but they are still not. The reason why people keep asking questions like, what is my purpose in life? What am I to do? Who am I? Is because people have not identified these personalities. There are 5 of them, and each and every one of us operates in one of these 5, but we have extension into the other 4. I'm not trying to, this is an entire curriculum I'm trying to brush into, but there is the innovative personality, basically. There is the creative personality, there is the equipping personality, and I don't want to talk about the others, but literally there is that capacity for humans. Are we still together? And that means, if that is true, then man is innovative in nature or by nature. Innovation is not something you learn in a book or you attend a course to. The reason why you attended that course is because it is already in you. You can't learn what you don't have residential in you. You really cannot be interested in what you don't have residential. The reason why you want to eat is because you have the capacity for food. If you don't have the capacity to eat, are we still together? If you don't have that capacity to eat, you really would not ask for food. The reason why you saw a course, or the reason why you're listening to this class tonight, is because there is a capacity inside of you that wants to bet innovations. There's a part of you that already understands, okay, I think I want to innovate, and you saw this class and say then something connected. So the reason why people maybe attend conferences, classes, courses, go for schools and say I want to learn how to be innovative is because there's a part of you that yearns for that thing and says this is who you can be. Of course, there is now a body of knowledge to help you become and learn that stuff, but it has always been residential in you in its raw state. So every man basically by default is innovative. But now this doesn't mean, okay, now I'm innovative. You might be innovative, or you are innovative doesn't mean you are potentially innovative, does not mean you are experientially innovative. You get the idea. So every man walking the face of the earth, God created man in a way and manner that we are innovative by default. We innovate by default. Does it make a lot of sense? We are creative by default, but you are now directly, you are now left to your trainings. That is why we have talents and we have gifts and we have skills. A man can have talents. You can be a talented writer, does not mean you are a skilled writer. So for instance, someone like myself, I grew up being conscious that I could write. You get that kind of stuff. I remember when I started getting conscious of my writing capacity. Whenever it's the holiday periods in school, I think I was in primary school then. Whenever it's the holiday period, my parents would ship all the children to my grandmother's house, and all my cousins. I think that's the time when parents just want to be free for at least 1 month. And they will ship everybody, my cousins, everybody. We're going to grandma's place, and grandma is a very beautiful soul, So she wants everybody to be productive, even though we're young. So she does what is it called now? She has a bookstore, so she gets us writing materials and gives everyone jotters, and give you a pencil and tell you to write what you learned last time. You get that kind of stuff. So everybody begins to write 2 times 1, 2. Some of my cousins were very good with math. My younger ones were, everybody will keep writing. The ones that will write ABC, A to Z will write theirs, and I wasn't so, interested. I really didn't like school, not for any reason's sake, but I just used to, from a very young age, I used to believe teachers were not good people.
I believe teachers know so much, but they will teach us little so that we can feel, and they will punish us. You get that kind of. So I've always had that mindset from my primary school. So I really didn't, but it was interesting. But I love to read. I love to visit the library. I love to read stories. So the only thing I could do when I get my writing materials is to write stories and to write. So I'll start writing stuffs, and I found out that I was very good with, you know, putting what I see in my head into words and papers, and we sit together. As I grew older, I started finding, okay, I have this creative side to writing, but it doesn't mean I'm a trained writer in terms of skill. I don't have my skill is not developed in writing, but I have a talent for writing. Now, like John C. Maxwell said, talent is not enough. Because you're talented does not mean you're going to be great in life. Skill is what brings people before greatness. Are we still together? Now, the same thing applies to this context. Because you are innovative by default does not mean you can offer innovations in when questions are being asked. When real questions are being asked in terms of, you know, contribution, you might not be able to offer anything tangible, but yet inherently you are very innovative. This is what we want to do tonight, helping you understand how to now bring out that capacity out of you. Are we still together? Hold, come on, time is flying by. All right, we still have a lot to, but we'll push through in the name of Jesus. Okay, now, man by default is an innovative being, and this inherent capacity of man is a testament to the vast potential and possibilities of the human mind. See, I really wish I could explain this vastness of the human mind, but I can't still explain it. I'll only be explaining how much I've traveled. I can say this, you know, without restriction. Your limitation is you. Your mind is not limited. I know you might have heard this. See, I don't believe in limitation in quotes, because I just believe I used to tell myself something, you know, in the quietness of my head. I'm saying this publicly for the first time. I used to tell myself, I said to me, you know, you're one of the most creative person you've ever met. I don't say this to hype myself. I say this to be more conscious of the possibilities that my mind could engage. The mind is limitless. The mind is, see, the day you understand how your mind works, the day you not even understand, because you really cannot fully understand, the day you catch a glimpse of how much of possibilities, you really can be anything, you can do anything. But you know, because of precision and then specialization, you want to choose one thing. Even in that one thing that you choose to stay in, you can still do a whole lot. I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, but you know, one of the you know things people say to me, especially people in the educational industry, is, why is it that, you know, you just diverted into something unique in ways that we expected you to maybe be a subject teacher, maybe teach mathematics. I said there is a vast possibility to what you can become. You are the one that by stereotype and culture limited yourself. Nobody limited you, but you know, most times knowledge can be a limitation. Literally, what you know can be the reason why you'll be limited for life. The school you went to that you thought was the reason why you're going to be great could be the reason why you're going to be limited for the rest of your life until you get to heaven. And I'm not kidding. I've seen the flip of, you know, life when it comes to mental development and strength. I've seen people attend school and then became limited. I've seen people that didn't go to school, in quotes, they didn't go to a proper formal educational system, and yet their mental capacitation is more stronger than those that went to school. So I've seen the good and bad and the evil of life, and I found out that, see, this thing is directly proportional to your mental frame. There is a mental framework that I built. So of course, we're not talking about it. Maybe that will be the third series. We'll talk about there's a mental framework that I built personally for myself, and you know, I wanted to have it for myself and my children, and then I want to have a genius in my family, literally, and you know, just my personal plan anyways. Are we still together? But we're going to consider that framework later on. Are we still together? So the human mind is limitless. The possibilities are limitless. The possibilities, all the innovations, and none of these innovations came from heaven. Are you aware? Of course, I mean as tangibilities. All of these things were a product of human consciousness and the possibility of the human heart. Everything you say, you celebrate, everything we use, and everything, the world was created without anything in quotes. Just humans, animals, some plants. Everything that came into this world was natural resource. humans' ability to convert natural resource to what they need is a product of their limitless possibilities, their mental capacities. That potential is there. So most times I look at people, and then people talk about their limitation, and of course it's fine for people to say I'm limited, I can't do X and Y and Z. But then one of the mental regimen I do to myself, and if you're conversant with the mental application study, you would have heard me say this many times. I try to imagine, when I want to, is a training. I do mental trainings for myself a whole lot, and it has helped me. Maybe in this series we'll have a teaching on mental regimen. The same way people go to the gym to exercise their muscles, and have big muscles and biceps, their exercises you can take to develop your mental capacities, literally. So one of the things I used to do is I used to force my mind to think more than one answer to a challenge. How do I mean? So let's imagine one of the examples I use the most. I don't know if everyone is conversant with brooms. Brooms. I mean the palm frond brooms and all of that. Now, there was a day I was going out, that kind of stuff, and I was going out, and I saw a young boy selling those brooms. Yeah, kind of. So a young boy selling those brooms, and when I saw that stuff, I smiled. I just smiled, and I was walking past, and I like the way my mind works and says, okay, can we develop? This boy sells this broom by hawking the broom, HAWKING, by hawking this broom. Now, what other innovative way can you sell this broom if you're the one selling this broom to me? And I thought, I like giving myself, that kind of challenge. So I'll tell myself, okay, before you get to where you're going, you have to develop 5 more ways or 10 more ways to sell that broom without hawking the broom. These things might look like one of the things this will do to you is it will show you your limitation in your frailty, that come on, I have to augment my mental strength properly, and it will show you that there is never one answer to a problem. And most times before I get to this location, I might not get 10 of those things, but I'm sure I'll get more than 5. And I'm just excited at myself. I say to me, don't worry, you're going to be fine. Literally, you really are going to. And most times it hurts me. Come on, I could do more than 5 now. And then it will cause me to maybe want to learn up on something, take a course somewhere just to augment my mind again. These things happen. When I look at things, I tell myself, give yourself 5 more ways to do the same thing and get better results. Maybe I was working and I see a studio or a building that is being used for something else, and come on, you can 5 more ways you can maximize this building. And then you're just thinking, what else could I do with this building if I had access to this building? Those are mental regimen. You'll be so shocked you can't do that stuff for 6 months is too much. 3 months, there is something that will change in your perception of life. Are we still together? Man, by default, is an innovative being. Let's move on. Time is against us, really. Okay, I wrote here and I said that human consciousness is made up of his number 1 is thought, his perception, and his emotion. What makes up, and you see that he's not first some neurons. I'm not talking about the brain. I'm not even talking about things that I'm not talking book. What makes up the human consciousness is his thoughts, his perceptions, and his emotions. And these 3 things are very pivotal when it comes to innovation. Are we still together? These 3 things are very pivotal when it comes to what? Innovation. These 3 things are very, very pivotal when it comes to innovation. The thoughts, the perception, the emotions. You permit me to write on my screen. I love to write on my screen a lot. I wish is a whiteboard, so I like writing. Okay, I will see together the thoughts, the perception, and the what? Emotion. Let's now, if that is correct, then let's try and understand what these 3 things is and how they contribute to your innovative capacity as man, betting innovations. Let's move on. Okay, so I wrote right here and I said the human consciousness encompasses our thoughts, perception, and emotion, forming the core of our subjective experience. Each of these components interacts with and influences the other, creating a complex and a dynamic mental landscape. See, there is nothing as complex as dynamic as the human mind. I can say this again and again and again and again. There is nothing as complex and as dynamic as it what? If you want to really understand how complex and dynamic the human mind is, try and understand space. just I know people don't like talking about space, but try and understand space, or space technology, space technology or space exploration. Literally, space technology. Just try and understand how the galaxies, the universe works, how there are multiple galaxies in, there are billions of galaxies in what do you call them now, in our universe, and our universe is not the only universe, and then there are different galaxies with different planets, and you're just like, boy. And the numbers of years it takes to transverse one, you're like, most times when I was much younger, when I learn upon space and all of these things, I used to learn upon crazy stuff. Now I used to imagine to go from Earth to maybe another planet would take you maybe 3 days. Dear Jesus, the more I keep studying, I find out to go from Earth to another planet could take months and then years, and then to go from our observable, our, what is it called, from Earth to one of the observable universes is in billions of light years away. Like, if you travel now there, when you come back, the Earth would have gone through billions of years before you come back. And you're like, what? Most times this thing will just get your mind in a place, and you're like, boy, I don't think I'm as intelligent as I think I am. You understand what I'm trying to say? It's a very, very beautiful thing. Space exploration I don't study space exploration because I want to leave Earth. I study space exploration because there is something it does to my human mind. Don't let me say these things. I don't think it is very, very important. But let's move on. Now, let's begin to talk about each and every one of these. What did we call them? The aspect of the human consciousness. So the first part we have, let me increase this a little bit. The first part we have, of course, is thoughts, right? And okay, let me reduce this a bit so that it captures all of my. Are we still together? Apologies, please. I just want to make sure it captures everything. Good. Now we have thoughts, right? And you want to be conscious. Thoughts are the foundations of innovation. Thoughts, I repeat again, you can write this down in your materials, you can screenshot if you want to, but listen to this. Thoughts are the foundation of what? Innovation. Thoughts are, I wrote here and I said, thoughts are mental representation that arise. Your thoughts are not thoughts like, my thoughts. Your thoughts are actually images. That is why, how many of you have had these experiences where you have something in your mind but you don't have the right word for it? Because you don't have thoughts in words or language. You have thoughts in images. Thoughts don't come in languages. You don't have thoughts in Yoruba or English or Spanish or whatever your language is. You don't have thoughts in languages. You have thoughts as images. So that is why you can have a thought and you're like, come on, what's the word for this thing? And you're like, but have you been there? You say, I know what I want to say, but I don't have the word for it. What's the word for this thing now? How did I forget? And in your head, you know what you want to say, but you don't have the right word for it because you don't have thoughts in words. You have thoughts in images. And it is these images that end up, when processed, let me rub this off so that I have space. Forgive me. Sorry, I'm trying to erase this with my eraser. Good, thank you. All right, now when these thoughts are properly developed, when these thoughts are then developed, it is these thoughts that then become innovations or technological tools and all of those things that we celebrate and we talk about. Innovations. Are we still together? So yes, of course, it is somebody, the device you're using to stream this class right now, listen to this class right now, was first a mental representation of someone before it became a physical tangibility in your hands. So your thoughts are not first. Thoughts will end up becoming physical. See, should I tell you one very funny thing? It is when you understand thoughts as foundation for innovation, then that is when your thoughts now become pricely. If you don't understand this stuff, you have thoughts in your head and just the day you know that my thoughts are the foundation for any innovation, you will be, number one, more conscious of your thought realm, and two, you will guard your thought realm terribly. let's move on. So I said thoughts are mental representation that arises in the mind, encompassing ideas, beliefs, memories, and fantasies. What makes for your, and this is what, okay, let me read on so that it makes a lot of sense. The basis for innovative solution is the mental images in your mind, which of course is a result of your belief system and your mindset. Your innovative strength is a reflection of who and what you allow to mentor or shape your mindset, and this is one thing you want to believe forever. A Greek philosopher, I can't remember his name right now. I used to have issues remembering his name, but I remember what he said, and he said every man was born a tabula rasa. Let me find a way to write that. Tabula rasa. And what does this mean? Tabula rasa literally in Greek means blank slate. I'm going somewhere. Listen to me. Blank slates. Now, so when we were born, it's not first the fact that we don't have anything in our mind, we don't know anything. It's the fact that you can't have thoughts. Even if you're 3 years old, what you can't have thoughts. You can only have cravings, in quotes. You want to eat, you want to play ball, you want to do this XYZ and all. You can't have thoughts. Now, what causes you to have thoughts is somebody shaped your mindset. So the reason that is why children are taken to schools, and I don't first believe a young child should be taken to a school. I first believe it should be mentored by his parents properly and shaped his mindset before he even goes to school, that now begin to work and train what has been shaped. Now, are we still together? Now, the young individual is right there without anything in his mind. When I mean anything in his mind, I don't say he doesn't. What I mean is he doesn't have a mindset, in quotes, yet. So the mindset that you have, whoever begins to give you information determines what your thought life will be like. Whoever trains you, see, this thing is one of the reasons why there are individuals that are highly innovative and there are individuals that are less innovative. Not because two of them are bad people or one sinned and one did not sin. Is the level of and belief system are product of information you have access to. Your belief system is the information that you have access to. So this is the reason why people have mentors. Your mentor determines where you're going. I'm not saying this because because this individual gives you a mind. It gives you the mind that you think on. Are we still together? So let's imagine two individuals. Let me use a school system so that you understand properly. Which of school system is not the best of this example, but just imagine. So one of someone studied, let's say, this is Nigeria. Let me use Nigeria as an example. Someone studied, let's say, in a polytechnic in Nigeria. If you are a Nigerian, you understand what I'm trying to say. So let's say you studied at Ilaro Polytechnic. No, nothing is wrong with Ilaro. No, nothing is wrong with Ilaro Polytechnic. Let's say Ilaro Polytechnic still, very beautiful institution, very, very beautiful institution. Now, somebody studied at Ilaro Polytechnic and the other individual studied at Harvard. And I'm not saying, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Of course, I'm using the Western word because of the dexterity of, abilities put in the educational system. That's why I'm using that. Now, one studied at Ilaro, one studied at, Harvard. Harvard, literally studied at Harvard. Now, when the two individuals come, their thought capacity would be very different because of the kind of information they had access to, because of their belief systems. Does it make a lot of sense? So when I tell people and I say, see, your thought is, don't first say, why am I having this kind of thoughts? Is what am I exposing myself to in terms of information, number one? Who am I listening to? Who you decide to listen to, it doesn't matter even if you don't, recognize the person or publicly acknowledge the person, they begin to shape your mind. And God, if God will catch you, the person now has a limited mental scope. Now, you can't outdo who you listen to. You see, it's a law of life. Does it make a lot of sense? You can't. It's a law of life. Are we still together? Now, you are limited. Your thought realm. You can't think innovatively. When I talk, so the mental images in your head are limited. They're like you're trying to watch a video on YouTube, and instead of using 1080p, 80, what is it, the stuff, and then you're using maybe 240. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The mental image in your head is going to be very blurry. it's not going to be weighty enough to be appreciated by people that have value. So you want to be conscious of who shapes your mind. I wrote here and I said your innovative strength. See, we are more innovative than ourselves, not because God likes one person than the other. We are more innovative than ourselves because of who we are allowed to mentor and shape our mindset. You can't shape your own mindset by yourself. It's not given to man to shape himself. You can't do it for yourself. Who you listen to matters. What you listen to matters. These are the things that, becomes. Remember what we said at the top right here. Thoughts are mental representation that arises in the mind, encompassing your ideas, your beliefs, your memories, and your fantasies. The information you have is what becomes when I mean idea, I'm not saying nice idea. I mean what you receive as as mindset. Let me put it that way. Your belief system, the information constructs your belief system. So when all of these are put in place, when you now sit down to begin to do idea generation, you are now limited by that belief system. This is why two individuals will talk and one person is amazed at what the other person is saying, not because one person is superior than the other person. Who you allow shape your mind, what you allow shape your mind would have adverse effects on your thought realm, and what affects your thought realm affects your innovative strength. See, this is a principle forever. So this is how innovation don't drop on people's lap. So people engage superior minds and then come up with superior level of innovative capacity, and you're like, wow. Don't say wow, ask them, what information do they have access to? It's just like, let's imagine I have access to maybe, and not foolish access, so but I have access to, let's say, one of the top minds in the world, let's say maybe Bill Gates, and I have access to maybe work with Bill Gates for a while. There is something that happens to your mind. I mean, work with him personally, not work in kitchen, work with him personally. There's something that happens to your mind after that interaction. It begins to affect your thoughts. You begin to see. That's number two I'm already getting into, but it begins to construct a kind of your mental representation, or your mental images begin to be, you'll be seeing things in a way that you're like, wow, come on. You can't be seeing things like a Yoruba boy that came from somewhere in Ogun State. You'll be seeing things at a larger perception. I dabbled into perception already, but do you understand what I'm trying to say? I wrote and I said your innovative strength is a reflection of who you are, who and what you're allowed to shape or mentor your mindset. I wrote and I said man is limitless, but who and what shapes your mind limits you. Dear Jesus. That's why I said people go to school and then they become limited because they went to school. You can listen to somebody and your life becomes limited. My model would say men are gates and some men are, they are barricades. You get the idea? There are individuals you will listen to and your life changes forever. The individuals you listen to and my God, no comments. We're still together. So man is limited, but who and what shapes your mind limits you. You cannot be more or less innovative than your beliefs. You cannot be more or less innovative than your beliefs. Your belief is the echelon. So what informs your beliefs is not what I believe in. What informs your belief is going to put you on the highest pedestal of innovative contribution. So don't first say that's where you are careful what you listen to, what books you read, who you attend their schools and their classes. You don't attend. I say it about myself too. Don't attend my classes or my school if you have not seen track records. You've not heard this man talk before. You've not seen his thought. You've not listened to his thought patterns before. You just say, oh wow, the class is free, and you joined. You cannot be more or less innovative than you believe, and these are the factors that determines the kind of thoughts you have, and this kind of thoughts determines the kind of innovative contribution that you give to the world at large. Does it make a lot of sense? Let's move on. All right, now, when it comes to idea generation, I wrote here and I said, when it comes to idea generation, your ability to brainstorm, mind map, or think creatively can be hindered or augmented by your belief and belief system. See, don't joke with this thing. Your thoughts, the thoughts you have, I just had this thought of this nice idea. that thought of that nice idea is a product of who you listen to sometime back. You can't just, thoughts don't just come, it's not, you don't do and they say, yeah, I'm the thoughts that will liberate you. That's a joke. You have listened to someone and you've listened to something, and then that information has become a belief system, and on the strength of that belief system, your thought realm is activated, and then you can't have an idea lesser than who you listen to. So you listen to a great individual, the list of your ideas is already greatness. You see how it works now. Let's move on. So that is for thoughts. Thoughts are the foundations of innovation. Thought are the what? Foundations of innovation. This is how birthing innovation works. So, number 2, perception. Perception shapes innovative insights. Now that you have, what is it called? You have built the foundation for that innovation. Your perception shapes the innovative insights. I wrote here and I said perception is the process by which the mind interprets information and form an understanding for a context. Never forget this. Perception, because when it comes to perception, context matters. Where you are trying to innovate for matters. The context you're trying to innovate in matters when it comes to perception. So this is what shapes your innovative insights. Perception shapes your what? Innovative insight. And I said here and I said, your perception shapes your reality, and your reality is your innovation. Your belief system, all those things, help you get that thought and help you get that innovation. But your perception shapes your reality, and your reality is your innovation. And I said here, what this, forgive me, I'm trying to rush, I'm trying to, meet up with time. What this means is that what you choose to see is what you are capable of offering as a solution. Fact. What you choose to see is what you are capable of offering as a what? As a solution. Is the truth now and forever. What you see in situation is not even what you see, is what you choose to see, because everybody has access to the same thing, but what you choose to see now becomes what you are capable of offering as a solution. So you are very conscious about your perception. Now, beyond thoughts, what do you see? That's why come on, what do you see? I don't want to say some stuff because I'm trying to be very careful. This is a general platform. What do you see? People have said stuff around the fact that where people see problems, I see opportunities. That's perception. Where people are saying, oh, come on, what just happened in this place? This is a big mess and a big problem. Someone say, oh, this is an opportunity to launch this kind of product and get this kind of result and make this kind of resources from this thing. Perception. And it is perception that helps you shape innovative insight. So what you see, people are seeing problems, you are seeing an innovative opportunity. People are seeing a challenge. For instance, in the educational industry, are we still together? In the educational industry, people see challenges in certain situations. Of course, it's true. People see challenges in certain situations, but yet some of us choose to see opportunities and innovative, opportunities in that same industry where someone is saying, this is the reason why I'll never send my child to school anymore. Is the same reason some of us saw, and we built a system that allows more persons to join into the school system. Does it make you a lot of sense? So what you see is your innovative strength, in quotes. What you see determines, does it make you a lot of sense? Like I said right here, your perception shapes your what? Your reality, and your reality is your innovation. What you see becomes now what you can offer. And if you do not see anything, and all you keep seeing is complaints and problems, then that's what you keep offering, unfortunately. I wrote here and I said, just like your thoughts, your perception is a product of your mental frame. Hence, you cannot see beyond what you know and what you are shown. And your limitation or advantage in life is your sight, in brackets perception. Your advantage or limitation in life is your what? Sight, which is your perception. What do you see? In situations, this is why I said be conscious of this word context. In the educational context, what do you see? And this is how I have very innovative conversations with people. There's something called innovative conversation. And we begin to talk, maybe we're talking about an industry, we're talking about maybe the financial industry. What do you see? If people keep talking about problems and say, come on, are these things that, these individuals are not and cannot be innovative. You're just working with a bunch of individuals that are not going anywhere. But people keep talking about the problem and say, come on, I always say, don't talk to people that talk about the problem but can offer solutions. You're going to be in big trouble, literally. So you want to focus on, individuals that talk contribution. That's the sign, forgive me, of innovative capacity. So when you talk about birthing innovation, it's not just sitting and saying, sitting and shaking your leg and saying, one day me too, I go day innovative. That's not how it works. Your perception shapes your reality, and your reality is your innovation. Let's move on. I wrote and I said, you can have a great idea, but your perception makes it limited on arrival. Let me share an experience. At Beyond the School World, we have virtual. Apologies, my microphone fell off. Okay, apologies for that if you had some very weird sound. Are we still together? Okay, now at Beyond the School World, we have what is it called? We have a virtual, what is it called, representation, right? Most of our schools and all of those things are virtual for now, and yet we have product and services, products basically that we offer, and most of these products are educational technological products, that's edu-technology products, and then we offer this product to traditional schools, nursery, secondary, primary, tertiary institution, universities, and all of that. Now, one of those days, I had the privilege to go with my team to pitch a product to a school. I can't forget that day, literally. And when we got to the school and we were going to pitch the idea, and we met with the head of schools, and he was an old man, not old like wrinkling old, but the man should be in his, give or take, maybe in his 50s or in his 60s. You get maybe late 50s and early 60s, anyways. You get that kind of stuff. So this man is a grandfather. You get that kind of stuff. Now we're trying to pitch the idea to him, and what we're trying to pitch is a financial something for students. We want to introduce that product to students. It's not product like books. So we're not selling books. Very innovative edu-technological products. Now trying to pitch the ideas to this man, and the man looked at everything we're trying to say. We're trying to talk fintech, we're trying to talk cryptocurrencies and all of these things as an ideation that, or an ideology that students should have, and all of this. And the man looked at everything, and then when he was going to talk, I already knew this man, number one, his perception of what we're trying to say is he doesn't believe in these things. This man believes in read your book, go to university, pass, and then go look for a job. You get that kind of idea. So when the man was saying when we were saying all of this, the man was looking at us. When we were done, the man looked at us and said, see, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I don't think this thing is for my students. And in that moment, the rest of my team were still trying to convince. This thing is not going to work. You can't convince someone who has a different perspective or a different perception, or does not even have a perception of what you're trying to say. Does it make sense? So you can have a great idea, and then may not be that is your own even perception that limits you. People have different perceptions about things. So your perception, forgive me, your idea is great, but now your perception of things, and you can miss out on innovative opportunities that way. This same products we're talking about is what certain schools are grateful for, and then wow, we're grateful, our parents are grateful, that kind of stuff. We've gotten beautiful feedbacks, and it's the same reason why this man did not get on board. That you just want to be what I'm trying to say in essence is that you're just being careful about what? Perception. Let's move on because of time. Number 3, which of course is the last but not the least, emotions. Emotions are the driving force behind be conscious of these things. Remember, number 1, thoughts are the foundation of innovations. Perception shapes innovative insight. Number 3, emotions are the driving force behind innovation. When you want to see people that are very highly innovative, let's move on. Emotions are powerful tools when it comes to offering innovative solution. And I'm not talking about emotion, when you are cranky. I'm talking about genuine emotions. Those are feelings. Emotions are powerful tools when it comes to offering innovative solution. Emotions, when annexed properly, touches the God dimension of you. There is the God dimension of man that is the innovative. That's the inherent innovative and creative capacity of you. there is something that touches your emotion that brings a kind of you out, and you're like, boy, literally there is an emotion that, you know, most persons, we've heard stories of individuals that became great because they went through a poor background. You've heard stories of people say, the reason why I decided to be wealthy was because there was a day I was 10 years old, or I was 13, and then we didn't have food to eat, and I saw my mother cry. You know, you don't know what. See, emotions are driving force for success, yes, but we're talking innovation right now. Emotions are driving force for innovation. You will feel a kind of pain, and it might not even be for you, or it might be what you went through. I used to tell people, and I've not said this publicly before, but I said this to people close to me. The reason why I dabbled into the educational industry basically was because I had a very bad educational life. You can't imagine what education and academics was for me. It was terrible. And I just came to a point, I said, if I came out of this thing, I don't want an average person to go back into this thing. Pain can drive innovation. You can't imagine. I wrote and I said, in the school of magic and sorcery, the most sophisticated magic is driven out of magi's and wizards through stimulation of emotion, mostly pain, fear, or joy. I see fantasy movie a lot. I see movies around, and I read books around, magic a lot. So, one of my favorite book of all time is Aragon. Book or not movie. The movie is whack, but the book is very beautiful. Aragon, book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Yes, and I think another book I like so much is what's the name of this book? The Sword of Truth. Not Legend of the Seeker. Legend of the Seeker is the movie. That movie, they did well, but that movie was not it. The book is up to I think book 21, and I made sure I read everything. I'm a fanatic for books, don't mind me. So those are books. Those are hey, you learn in Aragon. I learned some laws of magic. I can't do magic, don't worry. I don't believe magic is real, but there is powers and all of those things. But it's good. But in the school of magic and sorcery, sorcery is the best word. They drive out these abilities out of young people with emotions, especially pain. They will I don't want to talk about dark magics. They will do things to people that will hurt them to the point where they burst out, and then there is that burst of magic, burst of all of those things out of their out of their lives or out of their bodies, and say, good, this guy is going to be a powerful sorcerer. You're like, nobody births innovation out of comfort. Nobody births innovation out of what? Comfort. I wrote here and I said, the greatest of innovation on the face of the earth didn't jump on people's lap. Many of them were product of intense pain and discomfort. It has been rightfully said that your pain is a gift. It's true, because it is meant to lead you to an innovation. Your pain is a gift because it is meant to what? Lead you to an innovation. One of the primest of example, Mark 6:34 in the biblical book, the Bible says, and Jesus, when he came out, saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion for them, because they were like sheep not having a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. See, emotions are powerful tools when it comes. So most times don't push down on your emotions. You are, for instance, you don't have food to eat today. I used to say this. You went hungry, you don't have food to eat. Don't kill that emotion. Let that emotion drive you back to your study table. It is terrible that you don't have meals to eat. Let that emotion drive you. That emotion is going to birth an innovation that you'll be thankful for the rest of your life. Are we still together? So I wrote here and I said, lastly, emotion triggers innovation. Emotion does what? Triggers innovation. Emotion does what? Triggers innovation. Lastly, just a final conclusion note. Innovation doesn't drop on anyone's lap by mistake. Even though you are an innovative being, you still have to understand you enough to birth innovation. Are we still together? I hope you got value from the class tonight. Birthing innovation, the first part, the infinite possibility of the human consciousness. Birthing innovation, the first part. So know that the human consciousness, just a summary, the human consciousness is made up of his thoughts, his perceptions, and his emotion. And thoughts are the foundation of innovation. Your perception shapes your innovative insights, and your emotions
a driving force behind innovation. I hope you got value for time tonight, literally, and I hope you learned something practical again tonight. You are an innovative being, number one, and two, the possibilities in your life are vast and limitless. Do not be your limitation, and don't let your belief system and what you listen to or what information you have access to be the limitation. Thank you so much for listening tonight. If you have questions and all of that, you can drop them in the comment section. They will be answered, or you can get directly into our emails. They are being shown on the screen right now. Get into our emails and then drop your drop your questions. They will be reached out, but you will be reached out to back, and then these questions are going to be answered. And then you can join our schools, register for our schools, join all of our platforms with, just check up on our link directory. That's Linktree BTSW directory. Yes, and then you can connect with us on our social media platforms intentionally, so you can get update on when things, especially if you are not on our platforms yet: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Telegram, to get access to our library and all of that. And yes, if you're just joining this platform for the first time, you can like, subscribe, and share to someone you believe needs this. Thank you so much for listening to tonight's session and class. Hopefully, we're going to see next week, Wednesday. We're going to be coming again with Birthing Innovation, the second part. And this time we're going to be talking about, context, industries, how to birth innovations in industries and all of those things. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night rest or morning or whenever you're listening to this. God bless you. See you next week. Please be safe.